Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Sunday interview. Now, I really don't know how to even start this interview, considering the fact this is take three. When this guy came on, I honestly, I'm lost for words. His story is very inspirational. He has overcame more in one day than I've overcame in a lifetime. And I still feel sorry for myself. Today, he's going to share his story. Ladies and gentlemen, sit back, relax, because you're about to be inspired. Ladies and gentlemen, the one and only Mike Sherman. Mike, how you doing today?
I'm great, Joseph. How are you?
Good. Now we're gonna break the third wall. We're gonna break the third wall. That was my third take. Trying to do the intro, but I mean, I've been kind of nervous. I was nervous. I'm nervous interviewing you. I mean, your story inspires me. I mean, I've never been inspired as much as your story has inspired me. I
Thank
mean,
you.
I've been inspired by a lot of stories, but your story is like up there. Not
Thank you.
only are you an author, but you're one hell of an athlete,
Yeah.
entrepreneurial, and now you're a motivational speaker. I mean, you are in life where I want to be. Besides, I mean, of course, the disease is something, but we'll talk about all that in a little bit. Let's start from the beginning. Where are you from?
I'm from Toronto, Canada. We so just north of the border. Pretty, it's pretty cold here 6 months of the year. But it's May and the sun's shining and Toronto. Summer's coming and it's a beautiful city right on the water. Lots to do. Great people.
Now, being from Alabama, I don't do the code. I don't. I'm not. I don't know how much you know about Alabama, but when it gets cold, it's like
We go down to 0 degrees, so it's freezing. Like
yeah,
if you go
not gonna happen.
swimming and you come out of the pool, and your hair's not dry, your hair's gonna freeze. So but I'm more of a summer guy. I'm into summer sports and yeah, no, it's been a crazy journey. Yeah.
Canada is one of the countries that I do want to visit. Unfortunately, the most north I've been is New York City. Uh, I'm not really much of a cold person, but you know, here's the thing about Canada. You don't hear a lot about murders and all that stuff we have here in America. That I mean, I don't know what's the difference between America and Canada. I know y'all more of a socialist country, we're more of a capitalist country. Other than that, it seems like when it comes to crime, y'all got things figured out. Uh, with
So
that
so
said, go
So I
ahead.
think I think we do have it. Our population, like we are a bigger country in terms of geography. Like we have more land. Um, but you guys have 10 times the amount of people that we do in your country. So I think when you have 10 times the amount of people, y- you're going to have 10 times the amount of crime or a significant more amount. So
So
we do have, murders and crimes that happen here every day. But the numbers aren't as great as what's going on down there.
Canada has figured it out, have less people. So
I've
Thanos
got
was right.
I've got people
Oh
more
my
land.
oh my goodness, Thanos was right. You cut out half the population, less crime. There you go. All this time. Thank you, Thanos in Canada. Uh so growing up in Canada, you said we was talking offline, you said you was more into summer sports. In Canada, how do you do summer sports? It's hockey country.
It is
It's winter
hockey
country.
country. It is hockey
Yeah.
country, and growing up, I did play hockey. Um, you know, I was put in hockey lessons by my parents, but I did always float over more to the summer sports, swimming and boating and stuff like that. And then About 10 years ago, I started paddleboarding. So for people who are listening who don't know what paddleboarding is, it's like surfing with a paddle. And I took it up as a hobby, and I developed that, and I turned it into a profession. So I became a professional paddleboarder, and it is a professional sport. There's a world championships. It's in the Pan Am Games. They're trying to get it into the Olympics now. Um, this year, I am the International Stand-Up Paddleboarding Man of the Year, from all the countries, which is a pretty cool honor. But the amazing thing with paddleboarding was that it gave me, becoming a coach, I got to watch people grow and develop. And people would show up and they'd be very nervous and anxious. Everybody's scared to fall in the water, but it's actually a lot of fun. But I got to watch people's confidence grow and their power grow. So I developed a business and I built it up, and it was a pretty great time in my life, working with people. Um, and then everything went wrong.
How important is it to you to get to work with people?
Yeah, so I think what has led me so well as an entrepreneur is that I have based what I have done always on relationships and experiences. I have always wanted to leave, whether it's with my book, or whether it's with speaking, or with teaching paddleboarding years ago. Um, I always wanted to leave people feeling great about themselves and feeling stronger than before they met me. So, so that has carried with me through this entire time. Pivoting and transitioning into a new career, a new job. So I think, if you're an entrepreneur, if you're, go with being service based, and build relationships and connections, and want to create experiences.
Wow. I was watching some interviews of you, just doing my research. And, one thing that kept popping up, I didn't understand. We're going to talk about it here. And you was like, if you felt like it wasn't important to you, why you bringing it up? But it seemed like every interview, they want to mention your sexuality. It's like, that was like the most important thing that people wanted to talk about. Is it sometimes insulting to you that, hey, look, I got this story right here that's so inspiring, but yet you want to talk about my personal life?
Yeah. No, I think, well, yeah. So like, it's kind of twofold. Like, so on the one hand, it's a part of me. It's not who I am, but it's a part of my life. And as my profile has built, people are more interested in who I am. So the questions go a little bit deeper, and people want to know things. I was very happy, when I became the International Stand-Up Paddleboarding Man of the Year. I was the first person with a disability. I was the first Canadian. I was the first LGBTQ person to win this award ever. So that became a story. So it is interesting. It's an angle that the media takes. I'm very comfortable with who I am, so I don't really have any bother with it. But no, I think it's great. I wish, there were more athletes, around who were comfortable with it when I was a kid, that I could look up to. And I think it's great.
you know, being from, I don't think being from Alabama has nothing to do with it, but being, I guess, the alpha male father that I had, you know, you always had the, you know, and of course I don't know how old you are, but I grew up in the '80s, and you know, it was, you know, Sylvester Stallone and all sorts of things. Everybody had to be a manly man, you know. And when you think about a homosexual man, you don't think about somebody who can paddleboard 50 miles. You know what I mean? You think about, you know, the hee hee. But people, you know, people, we're learning today that in 2021, some of the baddest cats in the world are homosexuals. I'm talking about people that can really hurt you, physically, mentally, emotionally. I mean, they can mess you up. And you know, that stereotype is starting to change a little bit. As for you as a homosexual man, how do you feel about people perceiving you as a athlete,
Yeah,
not a homosexual athlete?
yeah. So that's an interesting question. So I did an interview with Outsports, which is a huge publication, and they interview gay athletes all over the world. But I've been interviewed by Unilad, which is the second largest media news outlet in the world, second only to Reddit. And that didn't come up. The gay thing didn't come up. Um, I think more and more, people's work stands for itself, whether whatever religion you are, whatever sexuality you are, whatever. Um, yeah, I just think, if you have a strong message, if you have a skill set, if you are the best at what you do, the rest doesn't matter. And then it just becomes go time. So for those who are listening, you know, it doesn't matter. Um, you know, what where you fall with religion, sexuality, political views. If you are the best at what you do, um, then you're the best at what you do.
Now, growing up, did you have your ambitions? Was it just be the entrepreneurial? I mean, what did you want to be when you grew up? It was just like,
So
did you wake up one morning and it's like, hey, I think I'm going to be a businessman. I'm going to be I'm going to paddle, you know, across 100 miles a morning. And you know what strived you to get up in the morning?
yeah, so for many years I kind of floundered. I went to school for marketing and for public relations. And then I kind of just put that to side. Both of my parents work in the legal community. My dad is the equivalent of he's like the Aaron Brockovich of Canada. Um,
The
kind of
what?
Aaron Brockovich, like going after people and suing them, and he's quite relentless.
So your
Um,
dad's a hot redhead, or she's technically blonde. My bad.
she
Uh,
is she is blonde, and she means business. She's tough.
you know, I
Um,
tried to interview her. I never got back. We never connected, but I saw, you know, Julia Roberts did not do her justice. She
she
was
is
Zach.
she is
She
she
is
is tough as nails, that Aaron Brockovich. I'll tell you that right now.
yeah.
But no, like when I remember it was almost like telling my parents that I was gay again when I told them that I was going to become a paddleboarder, because they both worked in very strict, rigid office jobs, and there was a fear there of what are they going to say? How are they going to react? How is this going to go? And they handled it well. They were very supportive, and it's two you know we are now, 5 years later, I'm doing something completely different than what I told them I was going to do. And that was just brought on by chance and being open to new opportunity, which I consider a blessing in many ways.
Now we're about to get into what we all came the story that, man, you listen to this man talk. I swear to you, if you don't get inspired by this man, because I'm telling you, sometimes I think we connected maybe a month or two ago from this interview, and I was talking to your people and I started doing some research on you. And I'm telling you, I had a day where I was just down on myself. I was mad. I was mad at the world. It was just a bad day, to say the least. I can't get all into it, but it was a bad day. I felt down. And then all of a sudden you came on the screen talking about the Justice League. And I don't remember how all the speech go, but you're Aquaman. And I was like, what but I was sitting there listening to you, and then I played another video, and then I played another video, and then I played another video. I'm sitting there saying, man, my problems are so completely minor compared to what this guy went through. And what this guy went through, not only did he get his up, he succeeded. Like, he's more successful now than he was before the incident. But before I get to that, I was so nervous about this interview, because I don't think you know what you mean to a lot of people. I was asking a guy, Justin Raleigh, he's part of the CTS. I said, man, I'm nervous. I don't know what to ask this guy. Can you help me out? Can you give me 10 questions? And this jackass wrote, number 1, what's your favorite color? 2, can Batman beat up Superman? 3,
Batman can beat up Superman. Yes, he can.
Oh, you're going to answer these questions. Okay. Yes. 3, what age did you find out Santa Claus wasn't real?
7.
Really? Damn.
Yeah. People in my family are brutal.
Yeah. Star Trek or Star Wars?
Star Wars. I talk about Star Wars in my new book, Crash and Ride.
Greatest wrestler, Hulk Hogan or The Rock?
The Rock.
Did OJ do it?
Yeah. Yes, he did.
He said he did. Okay. Who wins in a fight, He-Man or Lion-O?
He-Man or who?
Lion-O from Thundercats.
He-Man.
True that. Pound it. Go ahead. On the camera. Bam. Boom. What's your favorite Rocky movie?
Oh, the original is always the best.
Rocky 4. What's your favorite Chuck Norris joke? Stupid guy.
Oh. I have to come back to that.
Yeah, and last one, what do you want to be when you grow up? I hate you, Justin.
So the last one, Grant Cardone. I want to be Grant Cardone when I grow up. The undercover billionaire. He's just like fire.
Yes, I like Grant Cardone. I listen to Grant Cardone. And I also listen to his worst enemy, Jordan Belfort. I listen to them both. I like Jordan Belfort. I like Grant Cardone. I like Tony Robbins.
Yeah.
I like hey man, I like listening to you, man. I've been listening to you for the last month now. I haven't read your book yet. I'm not gonna sit there and lie to you and say, yeah, I read his book and it's the greatest book ever. I haven't read it, but I'm gonna get to it. Actually, is on order on Amazon from yesterday. I ordered it yesterday.
Yeah.
So it's coming in.
Rise is available on Amazon and Barnes and Noble and Books A Million.
Yeah, we're going.
And so it's about how we can overcome life's challenges with mindset shifts. And it's a bit biographical. It's a little bit bossy. I can be bossy. I can tell people.
No.
I can tell people what to do. It's a little, there's humor in it. For people who like pop culture, media, there's a lot of media references. It's just a lot of fun. And I hope it helps people.
So are your representatives. They told me I cannot look you straight in the eye. Don't
We're not at that level. We're not at that level yet. You can look.
So let's get to it, man. I know it's hard. It has to be hard for you to tell the story, but I mean, you get on stage and tell people, but it's so important because I want people to realize. Because with me, especially with this CTS, I wake up every morning wondering when I can get monetized or when we're gonna grow. Why doesn't people help me? Every little knick knack, patty whack, give a dog a bone excuse you can make it to fail. I come up with them. Tell me, let's start from the beginning. You're a paddleboard coach. Life is good. You're entrepreneurial.
Yeah.
Money is probably coming in left and right. Uh, Even though this is my fantasy, females are just flocking all over you, and just like everybody's like, my fantasy, not his. But life is good,
Yeah.
and then it hits you. This
And
is where
then,
I stop, and you talk. You tell the story.
yeah. Um, so I got chicken pox when I was a little kid. I don't know if you ever had it. For me, it was a very mild case. It was itchy. I had to stay home from school for a couple days. It wasn't a big deal. It was more just annoying. Um, and then once you get chicken pox, it stays in your system forever, and it lays there asleep. So I went on and I became, what I became, and and I built my business, and I became older, and I just closed my business for the season, and I went out to California to set up another venture, another business venture opportunity, and I came home and it reactivated, and it attacked my ear. So when it attacks your ear, it's called Ramsay Hunt syndrome. And over a period of 5 days, my face collapsed on the one side, speech problems, vision impairment, hearing impairments, and I lost my sense of balance. So I went from being like this really athletic, fit guy to not being able to walk. And I had to retrain my brain over the course of a year in physiotherapy how to walk properly again. Um, so there were a lot of resistances. Um, there were a lot of I hate the world. There was a lot of why me? Like, what did I do? Um, and there was a lot of things that I needed to work through to break through. What I talk about in Crash and Rise in my book is that breakdowns often lead to breakthroughs. We learn from our failures. We learn from businesses that collapse, that relationships that implode. From really dark things, amazing things can happen, um, and you just have to be open to the opportunity and to possibility. And when that happens, be ready to strike. Um, so yeah, no, it led me to, doctors said that I would never paddleboard ever again. That this wasn't a reality. They also said, I would never get on a plane again. That it would make me, that it would make me feel sick. That doing long car trips. I've driven from Toronto to Texas, which is like 36 hours, and suddenly like that's gone. Like when I turn my head from side to side, even now I get dizzy. Um, so yeah, no, it's but I worked at it, and I overcame those challenges, and I got back on a paddleboard when they said it wasn't possible, and I went on to doing many of the things, getting on a plane, I did a speaking competition when I'd never given a speech before. And I won North America's largest inspirational speaking competition. That speech has been seen 5 million times online ish. Ashton Kutcher's people have shared it on his platforms. Jay Shetty's shared it. It's gone crazy. And it's opened the doors to new opportunity and possibility that I never imagined. Like this past week, I just filmed a segment for an app that you download. I'm one of their lifestyle experts, and it's an honor to be asked and to be part of that. But business minded, that app is forecasted to hit 37 million downloads this year, and they've made me a shareholder in the company. So, like, it's opened up new possibilities, new opportunities. I now have partnerships with several businesses. I speak professionally. I have, I have this book which is designed to teach people how to do these things, and to help them, so that they can grow faster and that they can get these things too. And it's just amazing. It's amazing what's happened. But like the line in Batman, the night is darkest just before the dawn.
When it happened, explain to the audience how devastating it was when you got that diagnosis and knowing that you couldn't do all the stuff that you want to do ever again.
So first of all, it was excruciating. I don't know if you know who Tony Horton is from P90X, the fitness guy. He's a friend of mine. He's also one of my mentors. He also has this condition. When he describes it as, everybody's pain is different, right? Like, your pain tolerance is different than my pain tolerance. I'm probably much tougher than you. I'm just kidding. But he describes it as painful as having both of your kneecaps shattered.
No, stop right there. Stop right there. Trust me. I as God is my witness. I promise you, if I went through what you went through, no, I'll be out for the count, my man. This is the difference between men and boys. I mean, I consider myself a man, but I listen to what happened to you, and I do my research on what happened to you. Man, it'd be no way in hell I could overcome what you overcame. No, but I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
I think we all have an inner strength that we are not in tune with until we are brought to that point. I have no doubt that if you were to go through what I went through, or if you were to go through something catastrophic, that you could you could handle it. A lot of the things that we struggle with are the mental elements of it, coping strategies. And, at one point I went to stay in a mental health treatment facility because I had a breakdown. And I wasn't mentally, I watched my business collapse. I suddenly went from having all these people around me to not being able to leave from my house, and my social life was gone. Meanwhile, I couldn't look at myself in the mirror because of how my face looked at the time. And just getting to that mirror was a struggle because I couldn't even really walk properly. So I was dealing with a huge thing on top of the physical, and that was the emotional and the mental side. But I think that we are all capable of doing extraordinary things when we are we have our backs up against the wall, and when we're forced to do them. But there are tools, and there are tips, and there are things that we can do to accelerate coming out of that, and to coming out of it actually stronger. And that's what I like to talk about with audiences, and to readers, and to anybody really.
I got this is a two-part question, and I think you answer it, but I want to ask it anyway. First question: was it a time where it was like, look, I feel sorry for myself. I can't, why did God do this to me? Why does this happen to me? I don't want, I can't do it. It's over. It's just, this is how I'm going to be for the rest of my life. And this is it. And with that said, what was the breaking point where you said, it, I'm going to get my ass up. I'm going to overcome this, and I'm going to be successful as I was before this incident?
Yeah. So I think, in the very early days, I was using a cane to walk, and I was holding on to somebody when I was walking. And it was like a carousel in my head going round and round. So it was, I was being sick quite a bit. And I remember going for an MRI to rule out brain damage. They wanted to make sure that, my that it hadn't affected my brain. And I remember coming home and having a breakdown in the car, with my dad, and I just said, it's all over. Like, everything that I built is gone. And there's no coming back from this. And that was November, early December. And I went to stay in the mental health treatment facility in early April of the following year. So 6 months later. And I remember when the car drove away, and I was standing there, and I thought, okay, I need to go in here, and this is my job. I've got to do this. Nobody can do this for me. I've got to do it. And I did. And I came out of there. And when I came out of there, it gave me the confidence that I can do really tough things. That, I was going in there. There were people in there who had to be in there because they were ordered to by the court. There were people who were a little bit rougher than me. There were, people who were also struggling with what they were going through. It wasn't a pleasant place to be all the time. But it gave me the confidence that I could do really hard things. And I took that and I ran with it. And it gave me the confidence that I could go out and do hard things. So it gave me the confidence to get back on a paddleboard. It gave me the confidence to continue that until I was standing up, which, we didn't think would happen. And the wins just keep on building. I talk about win building often, and how you can leverage wins for more wins until you're not losing anymore. But no, that shift really happened when I came out of there, and I realized that I could do tough things.
Now, let's go to the baby. Let's go to your Pride and Joy. Let's talk about the book a little bit. I know you're proud of it. I can't wait to read it. Crash and Rise. Tell everybody about it.
Yeah, so it's called Crash and Rise, Diaries of the Unbalanced Paddleboarder. So, when I came out of that dark place, I started writing. And and I was writing about the experiences that I had been through and what I had learned from those experiences that were applicable to other people and how it could help them. So it's a little bit biographical. It's written in an easy kind of diary format. Like it's like you're reading like your sister's diary. But it's a little bit more hard knock, like hard life. And it's a little bit, self-help. It's funny at parts, sad at parts. But most of all, I think, it's for people who are struggling, and to remind them to keep going, and to give them the tools to not only keep going, but overcome things and then go after things and to make that happen. So many things have happened this year, and I attribute all of that to so many great things that have happened, that I attribute all of it to writing the book, and to living through those experiences and the philosophy in it. So I hope that several people rise to success with Crash and Rise, and they go out there and take on the world.
Well, before we go, I got a couple things I want to say to you, but before we do that, tell everybody where we can find the one and only Mike Shoreman.
Yeah, so you can find me at mikeshoreman.org. That's my website. You can, so all of that's my speaking website, where you can find the book, where you can find everything. You can find me online. I'm mostly an Instagram person. I like Instagram the most. You can find me Mike Shoreman at the Unbalanced Paddleboarder. I'm also on Twitter, on LinkedIn. I'm on pretty social.
That's it. Listen, I say this to most of my guests, and I do mean this. I mean this to all my guests. You're part of the CTS family. Anytime you want to come back on, you're more than welcome. But with that said, this is something that is straight from the heart to you, from me to you. There's not a lot of people that inspire me. I look for inspiration everywhere. And I'll listen to this guy, and I'll listen to this guy, and I'll listen to this guy, this woman. And sometimes I get inspired, sometimes I don't. But man, when I heard your story, it was almost like, man, damn, I could do it too. If he can do it, I can do it. And if you have not listened to Mike Shoreman on stage, I don't know what you're doing. If you're down and out and you just need some encouragement, man, I'm telling you, this guy right here, he's the truth. And I humbly say this. I mean this with the bottom of my heart. I can't get no more humble than this. I appreciate the fact you came onto my show. I know you're a very busy man. You can go on any show on YouTube, but you chose to come on my show. I thank you. I appreciate you. Now, before I go, I want to tell everybody, you see this circle right here? This right here? Somewhere right here. But I think it's right here. Yeah, this circle right here. Go ahead. Don't click on that because it's not going to do anything. But you go down below, you can push the subscribe button. Mike told me before he came on, he's not coming back on until we hit 1 million subscribers, because he's not going to come onto a YouTube channel with 1,000 subscribers, because that's for not going to happen. So get off, subscribe to this damn channel, and so Mike will come back. And with that said, Mike, I want you to stay online. Everybody else, see you next Sunday.
Thanks for having me.